You've probably tried to fix your finances more than once. You get motivated, you watch a video, you open a new app, you make a fresh plan, and for a few days it works. Then life gets busy. You're tired. Something unexpected happens, and suddenly all those new habits disappear like they never existed. You don't stop because you're weak. You stop because your habits were never built to survive real life. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most financial advice is designed for a perfect version of you, not the real you who gets stressed, distracted, and overwhelmed. And that's exactly where the psychology of money changes everything. Because the book doesn't just talk about money, it talks about behavior. It doesn't ask, how can you optimize every dollar? It asks, how can you act in a way you can sustain for decades? Once you understand that shift, your entire idea of good financial habits starts to change. You stop asking, how can I do more? And you start asking, what can I keep doing, even on my worst days? That's where sustainable habits begin. Most people think financial habits are about discipline. If I just try harder, I'll stick to the plan this time. But if trying harder was enough, you wouldn't be watching this video. What the psychology of money reminds you is simple. Doing well with money has less to do with intelligence and everything to do with behavior you can repeat. Not for 1 week, not for 1 month, for years. Think about it. A perfect budget you follow for 9 days is weaker than a simple system you follow for 9 years. A huge investment you make once is weaker than tiny investments you keep making almost without thinking. Sustainable habits are not the ones that impress people today. They're the ones that quietly shape your life tomorrow. And to build them, you have to start in a place most people never look, your psychology. If you look closely at your life, you'll notice something. Your financial habits didn't start with numbers. They started with emotions. The urge to fix everything at once after a bad month. The impulse to buy something when you're stressed. The fear that if you don't change your life this week, you'll be stuck forever. None of that is about math. It's about how your brain reacts to discomfort. From a young age, you absorbed stories about money, that it's always scarce, that it disappears fast, that it's dangerous to talk about, or that it's the only way to be respected. Those stories still live in your habits today. They show up when you feel guilty spending on yourself, or when you spend too much to prove something, or when you ignore your bank account because looking at it feels like a personal judgment. This is why so many money habits fail, because they're trying to fight your psychology instead of working with it. You tell yourself, from now on, I'll track every cent. From now on, I'll never eat out again. From now on, I'll save 50% of everything I earn. And maybe you can do that for a week, but your mind eventually rebels because those habits weren't designed for your real energy, your real stress, your real life. Sustainable habits don't come from punishing yourself into a new lifestyle. They come from respecting how your mind actually works. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something. What's one financial habit you've tried to create but couldn't sustain? Tell me in the comments, not as a confession, but as a starting point. Because once you name the habit that keeps breaking, you're finally ready to rebuild it the right way. One of the core ideas in the psychology of money is this. What matters is not what you could do in theory, but what you'll actually do in reality. That's where sustainable habits begin, not in fantasy, but in honesty. So let's start from there. Ask yourself, What can I still do on a bad day? Not on a productive day when you wake up early, drink water, and feel unstoppable. On a normal day, on a tired day, on a nothing went as planned day. If your financial habit only works on your best days, it isn't sustainable. A sustainable habit is small enough that it doesn't feel threatening, clear enough that you don't have to think too much, and meaningful enough that you can feel why it matters. For example, instead of "I'll track every single expense in 3 apps," you start with "I'll check my balance once a day for 30 seconds." Instead of "I'll invest hundreds every month starting now," you start with "I'll automate a small transfer every time I get paid, even if it's tiny." Instead of "I'll completely stop eating out," you start with "I'll give myself a simple limit and respect it without guilt." None of that sounds impressive, and that's exactly why it works, because sustainable habits don't chase applause, they chase consistency. The book repeatedly reminds you time is the most powerful force in finance. Not a secret stock, not a perfect strategy. Time. But here's the catch. Time only works in your favor if your habits survive long enough. Compounding doesn't care about your motivation. It cares about your repetition. Saving or investing small amounts for 10 years beats saving huge amounts for just a few months and then burning out. Most people never get to see the power of compounding. Not because they don't understand the concept, but because their habits don't live long enough to experience it. They sprint. They collapse. They restart. And that constant cycle convinces them that they're bad with money. They're not. Their systems are bad. You don't need perfect habits. You need durable habits. Habits that are designed like this. Easy to begin, hard to abandon. Automatic whenever possible. That's how you stay in the game long enough for time to start working for you. Quietly, in the background, while you live your life. Another idea from the psychology of money that shapes sustainable habits is this: real wealth is what you don't see. And this is where many habits die. You start saving. You start investing. You begin saying no to some purchases. From the outside, nothing looks different. No new car, no fancy vacations, no dramatic glow up. Your friends might even look ahead of you. New gadgets, new apartment, new everything. And a quiet thought shows up. What's the point of all this? Nothing is changing. This is the moment when many people abandon good habits because the reward is invisible. They feel like they're losing in the present for a future that hasn't arrived yet. But here's what the book teaches you. Most of the rewards of good financial behavior are delayed, and most of the damage from bad financial behavior is delayed too. You don't feel it now, you feel it later. Sustainable habits require you to accept something emotionally difficult. You'll often look behind in the short term to be massively ahead in the long term. You'll have fewer flashy wins today and more freedom years from now. Your habit might look boring now, but your future life won't. And the only way to make that trade bearable is to consciously redefine what winning looks like today. Winning is not impressing people this weekend. Winning is respecting your future self enough to sacrifice a little comfort now. This is why creating sustainable financial habits isn't just about numbers. It's about identity. If you still see yourself as bad with money, every habit will feel like a punishment. If you see financial discipline as something boring people do, you'll sabotage yourself every time life gets fun. But if you slowly start to see yourself as someone who takes money seriously, acts with self-respect, and makes decisions that their future self will thank them for, your habits stop being a cage and start becoming proof of who you are. Sustainable habits are identity-aligned habits. You're not just forcing yourself to save. You're acting like the kind of person who values stability. You're not just investing consistently. You're acting like the kind of person who quietly builds wealth instead of performing success. You're not just saying no to an impulse purchase. You're saying yes to a bigger version of your life. That inner shift is what keeps habits alive when motivation disappears. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I actually turn these ideas into daily actions? That's exactly why I created the 30-Day Wealth Habits Challenge. It's a guided, practical way to build sustainable financial habits, one tiny step at a time, without needing a perfect month, without complex spreadsheets, and without unrealistic rules that break the moment life gets messy. You'll find the link to the challenge in the pinned comment. Inside, you'll follow a day-by-day plan to understand your money triggers, create small, durable habits, and finally act in a way that matches the person you want to become. If you've ever felt like you know what to do but can't seem to make it stick, this challenge is made for you. One more key idea from The Psychology of Money. Your biggest financial risks rarely come from the market. They come from your own reactions. That's why sustainable habits must protect you from yourself. Not because you're broken, but because you're human. You're going to have months when you're scared, moments when you're tempted, days when you feel behind and want to prove something to yourself or to others. Sustainable habits anticipate these moments. They're built with guardrails. Examples: you automate your savings or investments, so they happen before you can overthink. You define simple personal rules like, I don't finance things that lose value, or I wait 24 hours before any non-essential purchase. You set a maximum limit for emotional spending in your month, so that when you feel like escaping through buying, you can do it, but within a boundary you chose calmly. These rules are not about restriction. They're about protection. They make sure that when your emotions spike, your worst decisions are still contained. Because sustainable habits don't expect you to be calm all the time. They expect you to be human and stay safe anyway. There's something else the book insists on. You don't need to win every game. You just need to avoid ruin.
In practical terms, that means it's okay if you miss a month of perfect tracking. It's okay if you overspend sometimes. It's okay if your investments aren't perfectly optimized. What destroys people is not imperfection. It's chaos. No margin. No emergency cushion. No habit they can rely on when everything else falls apart. A sustainable financial life isn't flawless. It's resilient. So instead of asking, how can I be perfect with money? Ask, how can I build a system that survives bad days, bad moods, and bad months? That's what habits are for. Your habits are the scaffolding that holds your financial life up when motivation disappears, when anxiety grows, when life doesn't go according to plan. Before we wrap up, I want you to reflect on one simple question. What's one small financial habit you could realistically sustain for the next 12 months, even on your worst weeks? Not something huge, not something impressive, something small, grounded, real. Maybe it's checking your accounts once a week, sending a tiny fixed amount to savings every payday, or reviewing your card statement at the end of the month, or pausing for 30 seconds before buying anything non-essential. Choose one habit. Name it. Write it in the comments if you want to commit publicly, because that's how sustainable change begins. Not with a revolution, but with one action you refuse to abandon. Before we wrap up, I want you to reflect on one simple question. What's one small financial habit you could realistically sustain for the next 12 months, even on your worst weeks? Not something huge, not something impressive, something small, grounded, real. Maybe it's checking your accounts once a week, sending a tiny fixed amount to savings every payday, or reviewing your card statement at the end of the month, or pausing for 30 seconds before buying anything non-essential. Choose one habit. Name it. Write it in the comments if you want to commit publicly, because that's how sustainable change begins. Not with a revolution, but with one action you refuse to abandon. If you want help turning these ideas into real habits, remember, the link to the 30-Day Wealth Habits Challenge is in the pinned comment. It will walk you through a structured, emotional, and practical 30-day journey to build the kind of financial habits that last. Habits that respect your psychology, your energy, and your reality. If this video made you see money and your habits in a different way, take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications. Here, we'll keep talking about money psychology, financial behavior, and how to build real wealth by starting in the only place habits truly live, your mind.